Hello people, today is 8th of May 2022. If you have a garden with really shallow soil, topsoil level, and if your garden soil is heavy clay, listen to this video because I have good news for you. This garden is a very problematic garden from the first day. When I moved in, I took the shovel and then I started digging, and then I realized that the soil depth is literally only 25 centimeters. It's barely enough for the grass. It's barely enough for the grass roots because it's a housing estate, as you can imagine. And literally what they did is that they artificially elevated the terrain, the level, with gravel stone, and then they compressed the gravel stone, and then on top of it 25 centimeters of really poor quality clay soil. It's not porous, it doesn't drain well, it literally floods. The garden is fully flooded when it rains, and literally there's no space for the roots to go because it's a very compacted stone layer just underneath, just maybe towards the end of the garden. As you can see, those fruiting trees over there, the soil depth is relatively better. It's maybe they're 35 centimeters, maybe 40 centimeters back there, but apart from the other side of the shed, you can believe me, it's only 20-25 centimeters. And as you can imagine, I care so much for my plants. There are like more than 100 species planted in this garden alone. It's a small garden, but the plants are not so tall. They don't grow much because they act like they're in a pot, if you will. They're just planted in the garden, but they have no space to go. That's why they keep really wee, small, short, and they just can't get to their potential size. But that's fine. But there's one outlier I want to talk about that surprised me so much. I expected so little from it, and it grew so much. And that is Loganberry. Loganberry is a cross between raspberry and American blackberry. So it was hybridized. It was produced in California, in US. It's not even native to Ireland or Dublin. But surprisingly, it performs so well in clay soil, and as you can see, it can take the wind so well. That's a very exposed place over there. By the way, that's the Loganberry over there. That's U-shaped plant, and also the soil depth. Probably it really doesn't need to go deep into soil. It's probably growing lateral root systems around the place. Although it's very crowded over there, it still has enough root system to fuel that growth over there. So I'm really happy about it. I didn't know what to expect from it. So first, what I did is that I didn't have any space there. So I first initially planted the Loganberry just over there, just behind that cypress, that lemon cypress over there, just behind there. And that part is the north facing part. So it's always in shade. It doesn't get sunshine. And this part is the sunny part because it's facing south. So like literally 1 year in that shade, it performed so well. It produced more berries than the raspberries over here, which are getting full sun. And then I realized, you know what, this is the best performing plant I ever have in this garden, so it deserves a better spot. So in the following winter, when the plant was dormant, of course, I dig the whole root system, and then I just moved it to the other side there. And then even if it was a shock for the plant, it just adapted so well and it kept continuing. And the other thing is that it never has diseases so far. And this is not an easy garden. I'm so close to the beach. As you can see, it's windy. It's not the warmest weather here. It's wet. It's the perfect environment for fungi and stuff, but never any problem on it. And it's almost evergreen, especially in Irish conditions, because it keeps the new growth, the new leaves, that season's leaves on it. It drops the foliage on old canes, but this year's growth will hold on to its leaves. So that's another aspect to that as well. And also the other good stuff about Loganberry is that the fruits are delicious. They are bigger than normal raspberries. They are very juicy. and they just ripen the right time. So as you can see, they have little white flowers on them. So they're just waiting for the pollinators and the bees are buzzing around the garden right now. And then the fruits will be forming starting from early June, late May, and then they will ripen through the July. They will bask in the August sun, and then late August, start of September, it will be ready for harvest, and it will be so bountiful and delicious. So I really look forward to that. It surprised me so much. Again, I expected so little from such a poor quality of soil. As I just want to talk more about the clay condition here. It's literally a clay that you can make pottery from. Like if I am to make pottery, pots like clay, plates and stuff, like I will be able to do that. It's not porous. There's no good drainage. When it rains, I see like little puddles in the middle of the garden. It's so thick that when the garden is dry, it breaks like deserts, if you will. And that breaking is actually so detrimental for the root system of the plants, because it contracts, it expands, and as it moves like that, it is ripping all those small root tubers, or like small root stems. The one positive stuff about clay is that it is higher in nutrients compared to other soil types, and it also retains moisture well. But apart from that, it's very problematic. So of course, before planting each plant, what I did is that I just removed that clay topsoil, and then I just add some compost, and then I place back the original clay soil, and then I mix them so that I aerate and make it a little bit slightly easier for the initial roots to form within that root ball, that that spot that I dig for the plant. And that's all I did, nothing else. But again, like it's just a small area that I dig. Obviously, the plant will grow further, further out from that space that I dig. And the other proof for my soil quality is that, as you can see, this is my third year in this garden. I'm feeding all these plants. The water is like non-stop. It's provided by Mother Nature here in Ireland, no issues. So you would expect all the other plants to grow a little bit higher, taller, but it doesn't, because the root system cannot sustain or maintain further growth. But Loganberry. So I'll just get closer to Loganberry for you. We will look at it. Just now it has so many white little flowers on them, and the pollination is going on. We may be able to see some bees around it. Before I show, the last information I want to give about them is that it's a primocane plant. What does it mean is that it fruits on last year's growth. So the stem it grows, the cane it grows this season will only have foliage, and then it will overwinter, and then only next summer it will have the fruiting buds. So what does it mean is that after you harvest that cane, you need to just prune it. You need to cut back from the soil level, and then you just need to tie the new canes to the fence, so that that cane will produce the next year's fruit. So this way, every year you need to prune after harvest, and you just let the new growth to replace the old ones. Because in winter time I tied last year's growth to the fence. Every single cane that is gonna produce fruit this season is already tied, and all the loose ones that are coming from the soil are the new growth, are this year's growth. So they're not gonna bear fruit this season. But after I harvest berries from the Loganberry in August or in September, I will cut them down, and then I will tie all the new growth back to the uh, fence. It's amazing, isn't it? It's as tall as I am. It's 1 meters 80 centimeters. And so many, so healthy the foliage. So many flowers on it. And if you can imagine, each flower will turn into a delicious berry. So this is the old growth, and this is the new growth that is coming from the root system. And there are no flowers on the new growth. This will bear next year's fruit, and this is last year's growth. This will bear this season's fruit, and then I will be cutting them down. Thanks for watching.